So something I've been thinking about all week is the fact, all month, all my life, Sam Slade, we don't have enough subscribers on our YouTube channel.
We're getting so many this week, though.
We don't have enough. We have to do more clickbait stuff, dude.
Clickbait.
We have to clickbait. We don't have enough clickbait.
All right, I'll get my dick out. It's got a nipple on it.
Oh, Jesus.
Your dick's got a nipple?
It's the perfect clickbait.
Dick nipple?
Yeah, it's a dick, but it's also got a nipple.
Does it act like a nipple? Like it's got all the characteristics?
8 squirts milk, but it isn't milk.
Is there anything else we could talk about?
Well, I mean, Godzilla 2 is,
We can talk about yellow.
Oh, there was that thing. Wait, topical. There's that thing. Child abuse.
that is always relevant.
Yep.
Speaking of child abuse, you are abusing your child if you watch Minions with your child.
So The Minions is a movie that came out in 2015.
It is a wonderful film.
Starring, it stars Kevin, Luke, wait, oh shit.
It's Kevin, Bob, and
Stewart, yeah. Kevin, Bob, and Stewart.
You telling me you don't know your Minion names?
It's like you can't tell them apart.
Let me give you my initial reaction. So at first, I was like, I wonder how long it's going to take for the Minions' voices to get annoying. And
oh, it's immediate.
And once they start doing the Universal theme, it's immediate. I'm like, I'm already sick of it.
You're fucking kidding me with this shit.
I was laughing hysterically.
Sam Slade, I hated that movie so quickly. I was very scared to give some, real background of my mentality going in. I watched it after both of them. I watched it today, and Kevin
watched it several weeks ago.
Kevin warned me. He said, Alec, it's not that bad. It's not so awful that it's enjoyable. It's just whatever. And I was really worried that I wouldn't hate it as much as I wanted to. Within 5 seconds, I already hated it exactly as much as I wanted to.
But then you find out that not only is it a Minions movie, but it's a Minions origin story.
Right.
And it's also a period piece from the 60s.
No kid that gets this was alive in the 60s and would get any references that they're making.
And it's not smart enough for adults to like it.
No.
So it's like, what are you doing?
What was their thought process going? Like, why did they decide to make it in the 60s? At least if it was like in the 80s or something.
So that way they can capture young Gru.
Such a stupid origin story. Like, when it first started out, I was like, oh, this is like a little backstory. They're giving a backstory to the Minions. Like, they were always Minions.
So Sam Slade, I thought of something while I was watching that movie.
They're immortals.
Yeah, they're immortals that cannot die.
I told this to Kevin.
Despicable Me, it's not the best animated movie. It's fine. It's got some good moments. Overall, it's okay. But I remember when it came out, I liked it. And I watched some of the special features around it, and in the special features, they give the origin story of the Minions. And it's basically that Gru performed genetic modification on corn pops. And that's where the Minions come from.
They're backtracking.
And that makes perfect sense to me, because that explains what they look like, that explains why there's so many of them. So while I was watching this movie, I came up with this headcanon that this is just the story that Gru tells all of the Minions to make them believe that their existence means something.
Then why didn't they have Steve Carell do the narration instead of Jeffrey Rush?
Because, Sam Slade, that's just me trying to rationalize a bad movie.
That narration.
That would have been way better.
That narration was horrible.
And it's just a dark ending where it's just like, he's lying to them.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
But, I mean, that would never happen.
That would never happen ever, because the movie's awful.
But anyways, it starts out and I'm like, oh, it's like the little backstory. And they do this stupid thing where I hate with any origin thing, where this happens a lot in Star Wars, where it's like they take one thing and they're like, oh, well, this is always like that. It's the Hannibal thing, where it's like, he always wears that mask. He loves to wear the Hannibal mask. It's like, no, he wore that in the first movie because they wanted to eat people while he's in prison. Just like they do it bad like that because it's like, well, that means they always serve evil. Since the dawn of time, they served evil.
That's their purpose, is serving evil.
Yeah.
But see, stuff like that, like if they had gone with the Steve, it's just Steve Carell's character making it up, that would be perfect.
That'd be perfect, yeah. And then they proceed to horribly murder everyone.
Oh my god, they kill half of the characters.
They extinct the dinosaurs or whatever, and they kill Napoleon with a cannon. They
shoot Napoleon in the back with a cannon.
Yes.
He's gone.
He's
they get a caveman eaten by a bear. The saddest moment in human history happens where a guy gets killed and then future versions of himself slowly start
I
to
was gonna
realize
say,
that
we're
they're
gonna-
going to stop existing.
If we're gonna talk about all the horrible murder in this movie, there's one murder that I like. All the murders, like, oh, he got eaten by a bear, or he got kablooied, or he gets squished by a big heavy object. That is an actual death. His eyes were open.
Move that over there, Professor Flux, from 2 weeks from now. As you can see, I don't need any help.
And then, because the character's like this time-traveling scientist, and his gimmick was like, oh, I just get this myself from the future to come and help me with my projects. And so then an older version of him realizes what he did, and he's like, oh, fuck, the original just died. And then they slowly stop existing. It's terrifying.
Yeah, it's terrifying. Because you know, there's Disney deaths where it's like, ah, and he flies off the cliff. Which like it's, you know, like Lion King, he throws him off the cliff. Simba does not get Scar and snap his neck. And there's not a horrible
with a giant metal tube.
He doesn't crush him till his neck snaps. So for a kids movie, it doesn't even hit notes that it should hit, where like the characters don't learn anything or change.
Yeah.
There's nothing
Despicable Me
redeemable
was a
about it.
kids movie, and it was way smarter.
Way
And
smarter,
That's the
and
movie
there's, and
that's
there's
based
an
off.
arc that
Yeah.
a kid can relate to.
Yeah.
There's nothing there.
It handles some pretty tough themes. Again, Despicable Me is by no means the best animated movie, but it's like this movie that is based off of Despicable Me is so much worse than Despicable Me.
And
Yeah.
the characters are defined, like lots of kids movies do this, lots of cartoons do this, where the characters are defined by just very distinct characteristics. It's like, oh, well, he's the smart one.
They do
He's
this.
the rebellious
He does
one.
that, yeah.
This one's afraid and he eats. You know?
Yeah.
But they don't even feel consistent in that.
No, they
Like
don't.
by the
They're
end,
not.
when they gave what's his face, the rebellious one, they gave him like a guitar or whatever, and he smashed it. I was like, is this his character? Was he all about like guitars and stuff and like being?
Was the music one in the beginning because he has a guitar. That was it though. That is the only setup you get to that.
Okay.
Is he has a guitar in the
And
beginning.
like the opening scene, just in or the once we're introduced to Stuart, Bob, and Kevin, we get the setup. We're like, okay, so Kevin is the taller one. He wants to go out and go look for a new master. And then Bob wants to help out. He's like, no, anyone else but Bob. And I'm like, oh, okay. Bob's obviously he's the go-getter. He doesn't know why. He's just dumb. He just wants to sign up. And then then Stuart's like, I don't know what's happening.
And Stuart
but-
has nothing. He wants nothing to do with it.
yeah. He wants nothing. So
Well, Stuart wanted he wanted to go, but he wanted to go for the wrong reasons. He wanted the fame.
Is that what it was?
That's what they said. That's what the narrator told me.
Right, the narrator did.
Because I'm a kid that doesn't have a brain, and I need to be told what character motivations
of
are.
course. And then they walk outside. And then Kevin doesn't want either of them to go. He'd rather more normal minions go. He doesn't want them.
More normal little walking tumors.
Yeah. And so they walk outside, and then Bob gets nervous, and I'm like, hold on. 5 seconds ago, he was like, yeah, wait, what are we doing? I'm like, that doesn't match his character. And then Kevin leans over and is like, it's okay, Bob. We're going to do this together. And I'm like, he didn't want Bob to go.
Stuart gets hungry and eats a banana. Where do they get bananas from? They're in an ice cave. I don't know. Well, and also it doesn't matter if they eat because they're immortal.
They probably poop them out. Yeah, they poop them out. They eat them.
Ah,
Yeah, dude, they poop
yeah.
bananas.
But that's why they're so obsessed with bananas.
They love it. That's another thing, with your cartoon's good when your character has a favorite food and always talks about that favorite food.
And it's also just coincidentally is the food that is characteristically the same color as your character.
Well, Sonic has chili dogs, and all that. It's just if you want to be a good writer, make sure your character has a favorite food they can talk about. I'm gonna say two things. There were two times I was not completely stone-faced the entire time. There were two times that I did laugh a little bit, and they were both physical things. There was nothing like it was both very small things. They're sitting there all bored in their ice cave while the main characters are out.
Yeah.
And they're playing soccer or whatever. And they kick a ball and it goes right centimeters by one of them and it just goes into the goal and he doesn't move. That made me chuckle. And then with John Hamm's character, it was such a small thing I don't even know why I noticed it, but what's her face, the main bad chick,
Scarlet Overkill.
and she's walking backwards towards him, and he just like pushes the axe out away from his face, like as it's coming up, and he just goes like that, and then the rest of it is awful.
I had no moments like that.
I had the only part I actually laughed was well, I still don't consider it good, but it got me to laugh. And that's when people were horribly murdered. Because when I see people horribly murdered, I laugh. I think it's funny.
The thing to me that is most insulting about the Minions movie, because it's fine that it's slapstick. Like, I get that's a form of humor. Kids like slapstick comedy. It's just, kids like it.
Funny Martian fell down.
Yeah,
and he ate a banana.
I'm fine with that. But within slapstick comedy, there's still room to make jokes. Like, it shouldn't just be like, oh, things are falling and characters hit each other. Like, that's not funny. You have to do things with it.
Yeah.
And the Minions makes no effort to do anything. It's just, they throw characters at each other. It's just like, random things happen. It was hard for me to follow the movie sometimes, because, like, they would be doing one thing. Like, characters would be engaged in some activity. And then after that happened, like, the opening's a good example. They're in the ice cave. And they're like, oh, the Minions are having fun. And it shows the Minions doing stuff, and it's like thing on thing is happening. There's no jokes. It's just like all this shit's happening on the screen. But you could do funny things. It's not like the Minions are incapable. Like, there are a lot of people that really hate this movie, obviously. And a lot of people that don't understand why a Minions movie ever could have gotten made. I'm not saying I'm not one of those people, but I do think that you could do something with a Minions movie. It's not like the idea itself is completely void of good jokes and good ideas that you could do, but they do nothing with it.
I mean, you see, like, the animations of, like, Shaun the Sheep, like Wallace and Gromit, like, those are great because no one says anything. They're really funny because it's characters just, and then does something, and you're like, oh, that was fine, and then no one talks, but it's simplistic humor. It's easy to get.
Yeah. So there's this thing. I get it's not our audience. I'm not their audience.
Oh yeah.
But the movie does this thing where anytime the plot needs something to happen, where it's like, oh, they need to go to Orlando, the big villain convention's there, which, conventions in movies and TV are always funny.
They never the Minions never achieve anything from their own merit. It is just bestowed to them.
Did you say that only for Community?
Oh, they need to find a villain, and they just happen to see the villain TV channel, which is secret.
Again, yeah, everything is bestowed to them.
Yeah.
Like, nothing is earned.
Yeah,
for the Minions,
which is great for kids.
Until kind of the end, but then it's also ruined because it's like, Stuart's the smart one, right? He's the one that gets big at the end.
No, that's Kevin.
Okay, no, and Kevin gets big at the end. So
you could say, like, oh yeah, eventually they do some stuff for themselves because, like, Bob, the short fat one, he pulls the stone, he gets the crystal, like, he's the reason that they end up getting involved with Scarlet Overkill. But both of those things happen by accident.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's none of it's done in a way that's even remotely clever.
Not like when he pulls the sword out of the stone, I was like, they set that up. Bob's always been the chosen one.
Yeah, it's insulting because the kids movies don't have to be like that. Like, the argument that, oh, it's a kids movie and it's just supposed to be dumb is bad because, like, SpongeBob's a great example of it. Yeah, it's a TV show for kids, but it's also really clever. There's really well thought out jokes. There is some really dumb stuff, but there's also some smarter stuff.
Really clear, understandable characters.
Yeah,
consistent.
And the jokes relate to something that any normal adult can relate to, like procrastination. You're like, well, I procrastinated. I've wanted to not do something, and then you get the jokes, you get the exaggeration because you've been there, done that.
And so really, the movie sucks, and it feels like there's nothing in it. It felt like no one went in. Not a single person on the creative team of that movie went in with a vision. They just went in. They had a product to make. They were like,
if they had a vision, they wouldn't have made a little origin story.
No,
they wouldn't have been like, oh, well, they were always evil, looking for evil, forever. They're eternal. Because when I saw Despicable Me, I thought, oh, well, you know, they're immortal.
This is nitpicking something that doesn't deserve to be nitpicked, but the villain was so underwritten, I felt like. They set her up as like, oh, she's so evil. She never does anything evil the entire movie. She's
a little crazy.
She's
Alex.
so smart.
She's a little
crazy. She might kill you.
So, final thoughts on the Minions.
Final thoughts. The after credits scene saved the whole movie for me.
I hated that movie.
I didn't even see the after credits.
The after credits scene is great because at the end there's a full musical number.
Wow.
A full length. You must have forgot. And they sing a Beatles song.
Oh, well, it's probably Yellow Submarine.
It's funny you say that because it wasn't. It was Revolution.
I might even forgive the movie if the argument was, okay, this movie, it's not just for kids, it's for really young kids. This is for like 2 and 3 year olds. Like, it's for babies.
Then take out murder.
Then take out the senseless killing of people.
That's actually what my closing was going to be, is all the murder was out of place, but what I think what they could have improved the whole movie is just turn it up. Make all the put even more violence.
Yeah, make it a Looney Tunes cartoon.
make it.
Movie sucked. So it definitely was not as good as the Despicable Me movie, which I haven't seen.
But I want them. So
This is a stepping stone. This was an experiment. I wanted to play around with picking movies that none of us would like. I don't think this was the right one. I don't think that this is.
I've already got my 3 picks for when it's my turn.
All right, so one is probably the best discussion that I know of, and that is Alien 3.
Oh, okay.
A movie I know is good that I'm going to suggest, and that's Gone Baby Gone. The last one I haven't seen, and I never do this. Usually I suggest movies only I've seen. But Nocturnal Animals.
I'm gonna vote.
I've got to vote. I already know.
Alien 3.
Me too.
Let's suck each other's dicks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Alien 3, motherfuckers. I'd like to take a quick second to personally thank everyone that's still here at the end of the video. Your views mean a lot to us. If you liked what you saw, please hit the like button, or comment, or subscribe, any one of those things. It really helps us out, and it really makes us feel like what we're doing is worthwhile. Thank you for watching. See you guys next week.